I'm not real sure. Like you said last week, since I've owned that car, it's all I've had it where I could drive it pretty good, and then last week I couldn't keep it on the track. It just kept pushing, it was real tight, and ended up getting in that wreck, and then so I guess I think you get a little complacent sometimes if you don't check all the stuff. I don't know if something was going on with it or what, but I got in that wreck, so I had to change some stuff. So we and Dad we had to basically rebuild the front end of it, and remeasured everything, and it drove good last night. So I guess we got it lined out a little bit.
Boy, whatever you did to it, you got her dialed in. Like I said, sitting in the infield, I was watching you through hot laps and heat races, and the car looked good, and we had a kind of strange occurrence. As soon as the Thunder Division lined up on the backstretch, we lost power, Brian.
Yeah, I'm curious as to what was going through Terry's mind at that point. Our A hobby race had just finished, and they were clearing the racetrack in the process. I think you were actually pushing a car off that had some troubles. And I think Josh had just sent those guys onto the racetrack. And, of course, Terry was starting on the front row, so he was one of the first ones on. And about as soon as he hit the backstretch, the power went out. What were you thinking at that point, Terry? It's just very strange, very unusual.
Well, yeah, that's the first time that's ever happened with me. I know me and Alan was sitting there talking, and he had said that happened to him one time at Atomic, and they were actually racing. So I told him, I said, man, I'm real glad we wasn't in the middle of racing when that happened. So, I don't know. That was one of the weirdest things I've had to happen.
It was absolutely, I was pushing a car off the front stretch up the exit ramp, and it went completely dark, and we just stopped. I couldn't see where I was taking him, and another four-wheeler went up the exit ramp, and I followed him, and then I come back around. We had about a 25-30 minute downtime getting the power back, and I walked up, was talking to the drivers, and walked up to Bunkin on the pole there, and I just told him, I said, I feel it, man. I believe you got it tonight, and he pulled it out.
I think also, Big Mike, it's worth mentioning, we're talking about the feature race, and it was pretty wild, but the heat race was pretty interesting.
Yes.
Terry Bunkin-Wyrick and Dwayne Wilkerson, those two went side by side for the better part of the heat race, and I've seen that several weeks with 31 of Bunkin-Wyrick and the 4 of Dwayne Wilkerson.
Yes.
I think they were side by side the better part of the heat race, but never touched. So it's a rivalry that's developed, but a good, clean, competitive rivalry with Wilkerson and Wyrick at I-75.
And those two guys, that's what you're going to have. Those guys, they're racers, but they're clean, and they give and take. They know when to lift and when to hammer down, and that's one thing that sets them apart, makes them a class act. Bunkin, any final thoughts of the night and what we're looking forward to coming up in the future?
Just try to make as many as we can. I never get on, Facebook and stuff and do a lot of thinking and stuff. I if you don't care, I'd like to thank my wife and my dad and some of my family. They're always up here helping me and stuff. And shoot, if it wasn't for them, I never would. I couldn't do it. So.
Oh, absolutely. And, that again, that's just one more thing about our sport that I love is, it's families. You've got generations out there. Granddad raced, dad raced, now the son's racing. They all pitch in, the wives, the kids. These guys, they don't have the multi-million-dollar contracts, Brian. They do it because they love it. And they work regular jobs like the rest of us, and then they're turning wrenches at night and making it happen because they love it.
Yeah, one of the cool things, I saw a Victory Lane picture from last night, and it had there was, I bet, 20, 25 people in the victory lane picture with Terry. So that just kind of goes to show you he's got a lot of family, a lot of friends that are supporting him. And I'd like to add one more thing, Big Mike, before we let Bunkin go, to get back to his family time on this evening here. But at the end of the 2019 season, we had our annual awards banquet. And, sometimes there's technology lets us down sometimes, and our PA system and speaker system was actually giving us issues that night. So we didn't get to talk to Terry that night, but, we awarded him the track championship in Thunder and also the Larry Kyle Sportsmanship Award.
Yes.
There was a panel, and a lot of thought and a lot of consideration went into that. We came up with 5 or 6 finalists, and it was hard to pick a winner. But that goes to a driver annually, who displays character and sportsmanship and helping his competitors out, doing things well both on and off the racetrack. And I'm almost convinced that Terry he didn't see that coming. But I'd like to. I'm curious as to what was going through his mind that night when he was presented that award. I'm sure it was a shocker to him.
Oh yeah, that was definitely a shocker. Whenever you did that, I didn't know what to say. I mean, I still don't really know what to say. I appreciate it though, because it's like you said earlier. I know a lot of them guys. That we race with, Roger and a bunch of them guys are real good competitors. And like you said, I try not to tear my car up, and I definitely don't want to tear somebody else's up. So I mean, that's just. I hate working on mine. I'll be honest with you. I like to drive it.
Right.
So, but yeah, that was definitely a real surprise and an honor to me, because I knew Tim from school a long time ago a little bit, and his dad, it was class act too, and yours too, Brian. I mean, I sometimes I forget that you all are brothers.
Yeah, those three, Josh, Tim, and Brian, they're all three different characters. That's for sure. Bunkin, thank you so much for spending some time with us, and congratulations on your first win of the 2020 season, and those awards you received last year is well deserved, and happy to call you a friend, my buddy, and hope you have a great week. We've got a week off next week, but we'll see you the following week.
Yep, we'll be there. I appreciate y'all.
Thank you, folks. That's Terry Bunkin Wyrick, driver of the 31 Hot Rod in the Thunder division at the I75. Brian, what a fine young man he is.
He's awesome, isn't he?
Absolutely. I don't think he's ever met a stranger.
No, he gets along with everybody. He's friendly toward everybody, and just a super positive attitude all the time. Even last week, Big Mike, after he got caught up in that accident, he was smiling and happy and treating everybody the right way. Just a ton of character, a class act.
Absolutely, and we've got a lot of those folks at I-75. All right. We've got more to come later, folks. Stick with us. Again, this is Big Mike Garren and the voice of I-75 Raceway, Brian Kyle, and this is the I-75 Minute Shakedown.
Hey, everyone. This is Big Mike Garren with CRN Sports Network. For all your automotive needs, there's only one place you need to remember in Southeast Tennessee. That is Ocoee Tire and Auto. At Ocoee Tire and Auto, they do oil changes, they sell tires, alignment, custom exhaust, tune-ups, radiator flushes, transmission services, AC service, just about anything you need automotive service-wise, they provide. Right now, Ocoee Tire and Auto, they're running a special deal. If you buy 4 tires, you get a lifetime tire rotation and free alignment. Wow. What more could you ask for? Not only do they provide any kind of service you need, they are a corporate sponsor of I-75 Raceway, and also they sponsor 2 race teams, Jason Brown and Pete Roberts, Ocoee Entire Auto. Those guys are located at 4947 Highway 411, Benton, Tennessee. Give them a call, 423-338-0709, and tell them Big Mike from CRN Sports Network sent you.
Hey, this is Trace Nye with CRN. Hey, I wanted to give you an update about Unforgettables.com. Again, that's Unforgettables.com. They are offering a special Father's Day weekend special. If you go to their website at Unforgettables.com, type in the code CRN20. Again, that's CRN20. With that code, you'll receive a 10% off your entire order. Again, CRN20. All you got to do is go to Unforgettables.com. They specialize in hand-painted baseballs and baseball gifts. So once again, head over to Unforgettables.com. For Father's Day, type in CRN20 and you'll receive 10% off your entire order. Again, that's Unforgettables.com.
Brian, Kyle, what? I can't ask. I don't think we could ask for a better episode 1 of the I75 Minute Shakedown. 2 great interviews in the books, and we've got number 3 waiting in the wings. This young man, he did double duty Saturday night. Everybody knows him as Kid Quick in the 171 Hot Rod, but he filled in for Mr. Justin Winters Saturday night, who here went off and got married. So he had to choose between wife and a race car, so he chose the wife. But Mr. Kyle Courtney filled in the J1 and brought home another win in the A Hobby. Justin's been tearing the track up the last couple of weeks and has visited Victory Lane, and Kyle kept up the tradition. Welcome to the show, Kyle Courtney. How are you doing, my friend?
Pretty good. How about you?
I'm doing great. Thank you for taking a little time to join us tonight. Brian, you've watched Kyle race for several years, and he has really come on strong and made a name for himself. What do you think about this young man?
Yeah, I agree with everything that you've stated, Big Mike, so far. I think Justin Winters, he couldn't have done any better, picking a replacement driver. He did pretty well there. That car has been on the track 3 times this year and Victory Lane 3 times. I've watched Kyle's family race a lot over the years. His dad was a heck of a wheelman, Brian Courtney. They called him Blind Brian in the 4-cylinder division at many tracks East Tennessee. Atomic certainly comes to mind. And then Brian moved up to Sportsman, limited late model racing. And Kyle has kind of followed a similar path. He first broke into racing in 4-cylinder, and one of our sister tracks, 411 Motor Speedway, he won a lot of races up there in 4-cylinder. And then the last several years, he's been getting the job done in limited late model racing and crate late model racing. Has a huge win under his belt already this year. At Volunteer Speedway, Bulls Gap, Tennessee. I know our radio show is for I75, but Kyle can win anywhere that 171 hits the track here in East Tennessee. Big Mike.
Oh, 100%. Kyle's run some at Boyd's this year. Kyle, we've had a strange start to the season. Everything was kind of delayed. Tell me about what you've been thinking about at the beginning of the season, and were you ready to get going back?
Well, I kind of got lucky that all this Corona stuff happened because that gave us a chance to get our hot rod together and work on it a little bit more and get a little bit better and get some more money and get some better equipment and work on it and just make this thing a little bit better than what it could have been since we had the time to work on it.
I think that's been a small caveat to this is, seems like now, Brian, race season is year-round, so we got to take a little time off. Drivers got to take time off to get some things in order, spend some time with their family, work on their equipment. But as I said, Kyle did double duty. he ran the J1 in the A Hobby, and he got the victory for Mr. Winters. And then he run the 171 in the Supers. Kyle did running in an A Hobby, which I know you've turned many laps at I-75. How was the track Saturday night? Did you pick up anything in the A Hobby that could help you up in the Super race?
I don't think it's different. You just you have to drive it. It don't drive itself.